It's kind of wild when you think about it.
What's that?
Quantum computing. This incredible potential.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to these tiny little things, qubits.
Yeah.
It's almost like trying to build a technological marvel on a foundation of, I don't know, soap bubbles.
It's a really good analogy because it really is a huge challenge right now for the whole field. I mean, current quantum computers with superconducting or trapped ion qubits. I mean, they are just so susceptible to errors.
Yeah.
Just the tiniest disturbances.
You know what's interesting, though? There's this new kid on the block, Microsoft.
Yeah.
And they're making some pretty bold claims.
Oh, really?
With this Majorana-1 chip.
Okay.
But here's the thing. They're not using the usual the blueprint.
Okay.
Right? Except those delicate little qubits.
Yeah.
They're betting on something completely different.
Interesting.
The Majorana-particles. Have you heard about this?
I have.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's a totally different approach. And the idea is they want to use these Majorana-particles, which were first theorized way back in 1937.
Wow.
And they have this unique property. They're their own antiparticle. So theoretically, that should give them much greater stability.
Okay. I have to admit, I'm a little lost with the whole antiparticle thing. But basically, are these Majorana particles supposed to be way more stable?
That's the idea.
Okay. Than the qubits we're using now.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
So think of it this way.
Okay.
You know how regular qubits are like a house of cards.
Right.
Like the slightest breeze and the whole thing collapses.
Okay.
Right. So Majorana qubits would be more like a tightly knotted rope.
Okay.
You can shake it. You can tug on it.
Right.
It's not going to come undone because the information isn't stored in a single point. It's in the properties of the system.
Okay.
The topological properties.
Okay, the knotted rope versus house of cards.
Yeah.
That definitely helps.
Right.
But how do they actually create these super stable Majorana qubits?
Wow.
I was reading something about a topological superconductor.
Yeah.
What is that?
It does sound a little sci-fi.
Yeah, right, straight out of Star Trek.
Yeah.
But
it's basically specially engineered material.
Oh, wow.
That they're using a combination of indium arsenide and aluminum.
So this special material, this topological superconductor, how does it actually make
Good question.
the Majorana states more stable?
Yeah.
What makes it topological?
So topological refers to a branch of mathematics.
Okay.
It deals with properties that stay the same even when the shape of an object changes. Imagine a donut and a coffee mug.
Okay.
They seem different.
Yeah.
But topologically, they're the same because they both have one hole.
So are you saying these Majorana particles are like the hole in the donut? No matter how much you twist and turn it, the hole's still there.
Right. Okay. In a topological superconductor, the Majorana states are kind of the same way. They're not easily disrupted by noise because they're tied to the overall topology of the system.
That makes a lot more sense.
Right.
Okay.
Cool.
So we have these incredibly stable Majorana particles created inside this special topological superconductor material.
Exactly.
That sounds like a recipe for some serious quantum computing power.
That's what they're saying.
Right.
Microsoft claims.
Yeah.
This approach could overcome some of the biggest hurdles we're facing in the field. They're touting 3 key advantages: stability, reduced error correction, and scalability.
Let's break these down one by one.
Yeah.
We've talked about stability, but why is that such a big deal?
Well, for starters, it allows for much longer calculation times.
Okay.
Imagine trying to solve this really complex equation.
Right.
Your calculator keeps resetting every few seconds.
That would be so frustrating.
I know.
Right.
That's essentially what's happening with current quantum computers.
Okay.
With the enhanced stability of Majorana qubits.
Right.
You could perform much more complex and lengthy calculations without the system constantly collapsing due to errors.
So it's like having a quantum computer with like a longer attention span.
Exactly.
So it can actually focus on the task without getting distracted by every little disturbance.
Yeah.
What about the second advantage?
Okay.
Reduced error correction?
This is closely tied to stability because Majorana qubits are so inherently robust, they need far less error correction.
Think of it this way.
Okay.
Right now, we're using a lot of our qubits just to fix errors. It's like having a whole team of proofreaders.
Right. Constantly checking typos.
With Majorana qubits,
right.
we could dedicate more of that computational power to solving the actual problem.
Right, exactly.
Rather than fixing errors.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Right.
More power, fewer errors.
Yeah.
This is all sounding pretty promising.
Right.
But what about scalability?
Okay.
Isn't that like the holy grail of quantum computing?
Right.
Being able to build systems with thousands, even millions of qubits?
Yeah. And that's where Majorana-1's potential really shines. Okay. Because Majorana particles are less prone to errors.
Okay.
They can theoretically be scaled up to much larger systems without the whole thing's becoming a jumbled mess.
Okay.
And that's something that's been really difficult with other qubit types.
So imagine a future where we have these massive super stable computers powered by Majorana particles.
It's almost like science fiction.
Yeah. Right. But we need to be cautious, right?
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of skepticism.
There is surrounding Microsoft's claims.
Understandably so.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. The doubters.
Right.
There always are.
Yeah, there are.
So what are the main challenges?
Well, the first hurdle is independent verification. Okay. There have been past controversies surrounding Majorana particles, with some experiments claiming to have detected them that were later disputed.
So basically, Microsoft needs to show us the receipts.
Exactly. Right.
They need to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that they've actually created these stable Majorana qubits.
That's right.
The burden of proof is on them.
Is on them.
And even if they do manage to convince everyone that the Majorana-1 chip is legit, they still face another massive challenge, building a functional quantum system around it.
Right, because a chip is just one piece of the puzzle. You need all the hardware, software, the error correction mechanisms to actually make it work.
What else are the skeptics saying?
Well, some are saying that even with their increased stability, it could be incredibly difficult to manipulate Majorana particles to actually perform these complex calculations. Okay. And let's not forget the competition.
The quantum race is on Google, IBM. Yeah. They're all vying for the lead. So it seems like Majorana-1 is this high-stakes gamble, a bold bet.
It is.
On a completely different approach to quantum computing. It could revolutionize the field, or it could end up being just another overhyped experiment.
Another overhyped experiment.
It's a high-risk, high-reward scenario.
Exactly.
All this talk about challenges and competition has me wondering, what would it take to convince you as an expert that Microsoft is truly onto something groundbreaking here? What would be like the mic drop moment for Majorana-1?
Okay. For me, the ultimate proof would be to see Microsoft actually demonstrate a quantum algorithm running on their system that can solve a real-world problem significantly faster than any existing classical computer.
So not just theoretical potential, but actual demonstrable results.
Demonstrable results.
Kind of like a put up or shut up?
Yeah, put up or shut up moment. Right. And not just any problem. It would have to be something with tangible benefits. Something that really showcases the advantages of Majorana qubits. Perhaps a complex optimization problem in logistics or finance that would normally take a classical supercomputer days or even weeks to solve. If they could crack it in a matter of hours, that would be a game changer.
Okay, so a real wow moment. Yeah. That shows Majorana-based quantum computing isn't just hype.
Not just hype.
It's the real deal.
It's the real deal.
Right. But even if they achieve that, wouldn't there still be a long road ahead?
Yeah, we're still in the early days of quantum computing. Even if Microsoft's approach proves successful, it doesn't mean it's going to be the only game in town.
You're saying it's not a winner-takes-all
Not at all.
situation.
There are multiple paths into practical quantum computing. Google, IBM, other companies are making significant strides with their own approaches.
So it's more likely that we'll see a diverse landscape.
I think so. Yeah. We might end up with a hybrid future where different types of quantum computers are used for different types of problems.
Okay, that makes sense. Kind of like a toolbox full of different tools.
Exactly.
Different jobs.
Tools for different jobs.
But with all this talk about different approaches.
Right.
It's easy to get lost in the technical details for our listener out there who might be new to all this.
Right.
Could you break down what makes these other approaches?
Like superconducting qubits.
Right. And trapped ions, unique superconducting qubits are essentially tiny electrical circuits that exhibit quantum behavior at extremely low temperatures. They're relatively easy to manufacture using existing semiconductor technologies.
Okay, so they're kind of like the tried and true...
Yeah, you could say that.
Method?
Yeah.
What about trapped ions?
Trapped ions.
As the name suggests, use individual atoms that are trapped and manipulated using lasers.
Okay, so each approach has pros and cons.
Pros and cons.
But what does this all mean for our listener?
Right.
How is quantum computing, regardless of which technology ultimately wins out of their life?
Well, the applications are potentially vast. No, remember those examples we talked about, like logistics, drug discovery, materials, science?
Right.
Those are just a few areas where quantum computing could have a transformative impact.
So it's not like it will all be writing quantum code or anything, but the benefits will...
But the benefits will...
trickle down.
Trickle down.
Into our daily lives.
Exactly.
It's like, we don't need to understand how a combustion engine works to drive a car.
Exactly. Quantum computing is going to be kind of a behind-the-scenes force driving innovation and progress in so many areas. It's going to change the world in ways we can only begin to imagine.
Okay, now you're making me really excited about the future.
It is an exciting time, I feel like.
It sounds like we're on the verge of a new era.
It does.
A quantum era.
Right.
Where the impossible becomes possible.
Becomes possible.
But let's not forget,
What's that?
With great power.
Oh, yeah.
Comes great responsibility.
Right. You're absolutely right. There are potential downsides. We need to be aware of...
One area of concern for me is cybersecurity.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Right.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah, a sufficiently powerful quantum computer could crack the encryption we use today. To protect our online transactions, communications.
That's a real possibility.
So it's not all sunshine and roses.
Not all sunshine and roses.
It sounds like we need to be thinking carefully about the potential risks and developing safeguards before this technology becomes widely available.
It's crucial to have these discussions now while the technology is still in its early stages.
So a bit like... kind of the early days of nuclear technology where everyone realized, hey, this stuff is powerful. We need to be careful with it.
We need to learn from past mistakes and approach quantum computing with a sense of caution and responsibility.
This has been incredibly insightful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
For shedding light on this complex and rapidly evolving field.
Rapidly evolving field.
But before we wrap up, I have one final question for you. As we stand on the cusp of this quantum revolution, what advice would you give to our listener who's probably feeling both excited and a bit overwhelmed by all this information?
Right. My advice would be to stay curious and keep learning. Quantum computing is such a rapidly evolving field. And there are so many resources available to help you understand the basics and stay up to date on all the latest developments.
So it's not about becoming a quantum physicist overnight.
Not at all.
But it's more about cultivating this mindset. To learning, engage with the topic, read articles, watch videos. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Ask questions. The more you learn about quantum computing, the better equipped you'll be to navigate this exciting and potentially transformative era.
That's great advice.
Thanks.
It's a reminder that we can all be active participants in this quantum revolution. Even if we don't have a PhD in physics. But let's zoom out for a moment. We've talked about the potential benefits and risks of quantum computing.
But what does it all mean for the average person? Will we all be carrying around quantum computers in our pockets?
That's a good question.
Someday?
While pocket-sized quantum computers might be a little further off. The impact of this technology is going to be felt in every aspect of our lives.
Think about those applications.
Yeah.
You talked about like drug discovery, materials, science, logistics. Those are all going to have this ripple effect on the products we buy, the healthcare we receive,
the way we travel,
the energy we
But it's not like we'll all be writing quantum code or anything. But the benefits of quantum computing will trickle down.
Will trickle down to
us,
all of us,
in countless ways.
In so many ways. It's like
we don't need to understand how a combustion engine works to drive a car.
Exactly.
You got me feeling pretty optimistic about the future.
It is an exciting time.
It's almost like we're standing on the edge of a new frontier. A quantum frontier.
A quantum frontier.
Full of possibilities.
Full of possibilities.
That's what's so fascinating about science and technology. They're not just about cold, hard facts. They're about
pushing the boundaries.
Human knowledge.
And imagination.
And who knows, maybe some of our listeners today will be the ones making those groundbreaking discoveries. So to our listener out there, whether you're a seasoned scientist or
just a
curious soul. Keep asking questions. Keep learning. And keep your mind open.
Yeah, keep your mind open.
To the infinite possibilities.
To those infinite possibilities.
Of the quantum world. The future is not predetermined. It's shaped.
It's shaped by those who care to imagine.
And create. And on that inspiring note. We'll bring this deep dive into Majorana particles. And the future of quantum computing.
Close.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me
on this journey.
It's been fun.
And until next time.
Yes.
Keep exploring.
Keep exploring.